It's time for Talking Pints. Yeah, we're doing it al fresco today. But before I introduce my guest, here's a clip of me last year down in the desert in southern Arizona, witnessing the scale and, I think, the severe impact of those who are illegally crossing America's southern border.
Now what you're seeing is one or two guys that are seasoned, trustworthy guys will carry the loads of methamphetamines and fentanyl. And a lot of times they'll sip on this little concoction of meth, heroin, and it's a little water concoction. And when we contact them, they run. We chased a guy in the helicopter for 5 miles before we finally let him go, and he was running full-on sprint through this desert.
Well, Mark Lamb, Sheriff of Pinal County, Arizona, joins me on Talking Pints. Mark, absolute pleasure.
Pleasure's all
to have
mine.
you on the programme.
Thank you for being here.
No, well, I think, as you know, I believe that the relationship between our two countries is vital.
Absolutely.
For both of us and for the free world, so it's an absolute pleasure always to be here. That day I was with you, God, it was even hotter than
right, it was much hotter then than it is now, although it feels great today.
It's beautiful. We've got rain in London, but I know you guys think it always rains.
Rain? What's that?
It's not. What I saw there with you weren't poor, desperate people coming from war-torn countries. That is a criminal enterprise on a vast scale. Just tell us, this drug fentanyl, just how bad is this?
Well, first of all, people need to understand that this is not about immigration. This is about human trafficking and drug trafficking into America. Women are being raped, children are being raped and used as pawns, men are being extorted. And then we talk about the fentanyl piece that they're bringing in here. Yeah. It's as bad as, it's unprecedented what they're bringing in here. This is the most powerful drug we've come across thus far. And I think they're making even more powerful drugs. But it is crippling America. It is killing American lives. It's become the leading cause of death amongst Americans between the ages of 18 and 45. Over 107,000 deaths last year. It is not just, you don't have to just consume it. It can kill you by just being in the mere vicinity of it. Last year in Arizona, we had 33 children die from fentanyl poisonings. 7 of them were under the age of 1.
Wow.
So yes, it's a problem, and it is not getting better. It's getting worse and worse every day.
And the sheer numbers now coming in across the Texan and Arizona borders, what are we looking at this year?
So in 2018, my county, just me, my sheriff's office, doesn't include any of the other agencies, we had 0 M30 fentanyl pill seizures in 2018. 2019, we had 677 pills. 2020, we had over 200,000 pills we seized. 2021, over 1.2 million pills. Wow. And this year we will far exceed 2 million pills. And that's just my sheriff's office. It doesn't include all of the other agencies.
And they're the ones you catch?
That's the ones we catch. We probably don't catch 10%.
No.
So you have to think, if we're catching 2 million, 20 million pills got through at least.
And in terms of numbers of people, we're looking at what, 1 million people this year are going to cross the border illegally? More than that?
2 million plus.
2 million.
I mean, just last month alone, we had 87,000 gotaways, people that we didn't even catch, that we saw on cameras, that we didn't, we know that they crossed, but we didn't catch them. You got to figure that number's probably double of the people that we didn't even see that didn't hit our cameras.
Now, Trump was elected in 2016, build the wall, that big, beautiful wall. Some of it got built, it didn't get completed. I hear that the Biden administration are beginning now again to build the wall. Is that right or not?
Well, they don't want to tell you that. They want to say they come up with some other song and dance, but they have started to build portions of the wall because they need to. And then the governor of the state of Arizona has actually put those Connex boxes along some of the gaps as well to try to help reduce it. Look, the wall is not the end-all be-all, but President Trump understood the value of the wall, and he was 100% right. It reduced the amount of people, and it sends a message to the world. You can't come in here illegally. But when you don't have a wall and when you don't have policies that say that, then it encourages people from all over the world to come, and that's what we're experiencing.
Is it going to have a big impact today, Election Day?
I do believe it'll have a big impact. And I think when they see the red wave in this country, I think the cartels are going to have a mad push to get people across the border because they know the politics are going to change in this country, and they need to change. We need to start protecting our border and putting America first, or else it's going to cripple us. It's going to bring us to our knees.
Mark, you've got a big budget every year. You've got 500 staff. I know Pinal County itself is absolutely vast in terms of, but bigger than England, I think. I mean, it's absolutely huge. But you're elected, of course, aren't you?
Right.
So, you go, our police officers are not elected, our senior police are not elected. You're elected, and that kind of allows you to, well, you can't change the law, but you can choose to interpret the law, can't
Right,
you?
I don't legislate, but what I am is I'm elected directly by the people. So I don't work for the president, I don't work for the governor,
Yep.
I don't work for other politicians. I work for the people of Pinal County, and there's power in that. And so if they pass a mandate or an order, I don't have to follow that. Those aren't laws. And honestly, I look at the Constitution first and foremost. Does it violate the Constitution? Of course, I follow the laws, but I do have the flexibility of determining what is right.
Well, you certainly do, and you seem to love your job.
That's right. I do love it. I love it. And I think the rule of law is what has built America. America, the rule of law is one of the strengths of America, that and the family unity. And the rule of law is being undermined by this administration every day, and it starts at the border. Their inability to control the border is the best way to reinvent America, which is what Joe Biden said. It's the best way to reinvent America, by undermining the border, by filling our communities with unknown quantities, unknown people, and by drugging the American people, which, by the way, is retribution from China in some aspect of the opium wars of 200 years ago.
We were involved directly in that one. Yeah.
But you know what? They deem us the same. They see the West. America, Britain, they see us as the West. And if they can cripple us, they will.
Well, whether that's true or not, the fact is we've got a similar problem to you, and it's rising to the top of our agenda. We can't stop small boats crossing the English Channel. It's visible, it's there for all to see, and it is doing us great damage. I noticed really interestingly that when it came to the COVID-19 mandates, the stay-at-home mandates, the vaccine mandates for people to be in office, in jobs, Pinal County chose a rather different path.
We did. I chose the path of the Constitution. I chose freedom of the people, that we're adults, that we should be able to make our own decisions. And so we said, no, we're not doing the stay-at-home orders. We did it for about 4 weeks. And then when they tried to extend it, move the goalpost again, we said, no, we're not going to do it. And so we pushed back on it. And then the mask mandates, absolutely, we stood against it. Vaccine mandates, we stood against that. Because they're mandates in order, they're not laws. And you had people very angry with me, the media angry. But in the end, I was given the people the right to choose. It's not the government's place to tell people how to live their lives.
No, I agree with
sense.
that. But ultimately, Mark Lamb, you have to obey the law ultimately.
That's right.
So your argument is these were not actual laws that were being.
They're not laws. They're mandates and orders. They were not legislated. Look, the founding fathers set this country up with 3 branches of government: the executive, the judicial, and the legislative. But what you have now is you have the executive branch creating mandates and orders. So basically, they're legislating. You have judges who are interjecting their bias and creating case law. So they're legislating from the bench. We're all jacked up, and we're trying to get it back. And, I'm doing what I can to preserve what this country was built on, which is the branches of government, the Constitution, the rights of the people, the power of the people. And so we felt passionately about that, and that's what we stood for.
Remarkable. Now, in the wake of the George Floyd murder, and that was what the court decided it was, we saw, and it happened in my country too, rioting on the streets, police officers taking the knee, Black Lives Matter, lionized as this wonderful organization. And I told the British people the truth about who they were and their intent, bringing down the entirety of our civilization, our religion, our family, everything. I'm very struck that an organization like that says it's all about racial equality and justice, my view is it's actually in danger of dividing us even more. How did you deal with that? Did you have those problems as a sheriff in Arizona?
I'm going to be honest with you. Fortunately, in Phoenix PD, Phoenix Police Department, did a really good job of squelching all that. And what you saw is that they left Arizona. We had small pockets of it, but for the most part, it didn't trickle out into communities like mine. But I have a very good relationship with all the minority communities in our county. And I brought them together immediately to talk about and discuss openly some of the issues. And we were able to address it in a very gentlemanly manner. Good. And we were able to avoid a lot of the issues that arose. Now, I will say I've never once seen BLM do anything positive in our community either, nor have I seen or heard of them doing anything positive in other communities. And I would be 100% for that. If BLM's mission was to make lives better for those of, for African Americans or for whoever else, 100% behind it. But I didn't see that. I saw that the majority of what they're doing, what their organization was creating havoc and chaos for law enforcement across this country.
And to defund the police.
Absolutely. They
Which,
pushed
of course,
to defund the police.
in Oregon and places like that, they've defunded the police, and we've seen crime spiral, I mean, completely out of control.
And it's tragic because they got enough money to really make a difference and do some good work. But the fact that Chicago has had the problems and they've been nowhere to be found, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, these are places where they could have made a difference where things were going on, but they didn't. And I wish they would have done it different, because I think they could have done a lot of good work had they stuck to what by the nature.
Yeah.
I think people gave them money expecting them to do those things.
And in a way, you grew up, didn't you, as a minority?
I did. I grew up in Hawaii. I was a minority there. Then the Philippines, I was a minority there. Panama, I was a minority there. Argentina, I was a minority there. And it gave me an appreciation for what it is to live in somebody else's country. But it also gave me an appreciation for America and freedom, the Constitution, what our founding fathers gave us.
You believe in this stuff very strongly, very passionately. Now, you've written a book, American Sheriff, Traditional Values in a Modern World.
Yes, I did. And
so how do the two fuse together?
So this is a book about, I think, some of the values that we've lost touch with in this world. And I tell stories of a lot of pithy proverbs and a lot of old sayings that my dad used to say. And then I build those chapters off of that. But they're things like, you got to be tough. Life is not always easy. It's going to kick you in the face. Overcoming adversity, family, all of these things. And I recently wrote a new book called American Sheriff, Rules to Live By, and I think you'll appreciate it's based on the poem by Rudyard Kipling, which is a poem I love. I think Rudyard Kipling is an amazing poet, and I love the poem If. And I tell stories of the founding fathers. I tell stories of courage, determination, sacrifice, some of their stories, some of my stories. Hopefully people will enjoy it. You can get them on Amazon, but you can get them at AmericanSheriff.store. AmericanSheriff.store.
Right, there you go, guys. AmericanSheriff.store. And they're going to do that. Of course, this is our symbol at this time of the year. You know, 1.25 million British soldiers killed in 2 world wars defending liberty, and many, many, many Americans, of course, buried across in Northern Europe and in the Far East and all around the rest of the world. And you do begin to realise when you think about this stuff that our liberties and freedoms have come at a tremendous price. Right. And yet defending them is something that we just can't take for granted. We can't take casually, can we? I think, you know, if you don't defend freedom, I think the bad guys start to get their way again. So, you're a Republican. What do you make of Kari Lake?
I love Kari Lake. You know, I love her. I think she is an amazing woman. I think she's one of the best candidates in this country. One of the best candidates I've seen. She has moxie. I love that. Right now in this world, we don't need any more soft people that are going to just bend with whatever comes, the wind that blows. She is strong. She stands up for Arizona. She stands up for America. She doesn't get pushed around by the media. She's not afraid to be attacked by the media. 100% of the articles and news pieces they've done on Kari Lake have been negative. That just goes to show you she's a tough woman. She's going to be an amazing governor for the state of Arizona. And not only that, she was willing to help bring along some of these other Republican candidates we had that are good people as well. And she took the time to rally them together to make Arizona a better state.
Because there was a split here, wasn't there? Because John McCain was a very senior Republican figure for many, many years in this state, and kind of the McCain wing of the party, the Trump wing of the party, didn't see eye to eye at all. It strikes me that it is now very much Donald Trump's Republican Party here in Arizona.
I mean, we still have a lot of people who support McCain, and they've been a big part of Arizona for a long time. Yeah. But I would definitely agree with you. I think President Trump, I think more people are ascribing to his politics, because we're kind of that old West spirit. We're a little bit renegade out here in Arizona. And we believe in America and what it was built on, and America first, and putting Arizona first, and being tough. You have to be tough if you're going to live in this desert. And we believe in that. And Donald Trump espoused that, and I think that's why a lot of Arizonans gravitate to Donald Trump, and that's certainly why they gravitate to Kari Lake as well.
But it's tight, isn't it? It's tight. I mean, it really is. You know,
I don't believe the polls. I mean, I don't think the polls are. I think it's tighter than it should be. I think that Kari Lake's opponent is probably one of the worst opponents I've ever seen. I don't think she's a good politician. I don't think she's been good for Arizona or will be good for Arizona. And I think this should be a 20-point difference. I do think Kari Lake's going to have a pretty solid win. And I don't think the polls are I think they're misleading to the American people. I expect to see some good results tonight.
Well, folks, I've been joined here by Mark Lamb. I'm going to call him a sheriff with attitude, and thank you for joining me on Talking
Thank you.
Pints.
God bless you.